Hello friends, welcome to another vlog. A witchy vlog. Ha 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 ha, insert witch's cackle. Do you like my hat? I quite like my hat. Thank you Cece for my witch's hat. Finn has tried to eat it. But welcome to a vlog, and a witchy vlog. I said in my October reading plans video that I was in a witchy reading mood, and that hasn't changed. I am very much in a witchy reading mood. So, we're embracing the witchy vibes. We're going forth with the witchy reads. And there's something about witches, I don't know why this is, but witches usually come in threes. It's usually a trio of witches. Maybe something to do with the maiden, the mother, the crone. Is that the way that goes? I think. But witches always come in threes. So, what we are doing in this vlog is we are going to be reading a trio of witchy reads. And I'm going to go for 3 witchy reads that are like very different in vibes. Because when I think of fictional trios of witches, they always have like very distinct like personalities. Like there's always like the evil one, the friendly one, the clumsy one, you know, sort of thing. Like it's always very different vibes coming from these trio of witches. So what I'm gonna do is pick out 3 witchy reads. We're gonna have 3 very different vibes of witchy reads, and we're gonna see which one I like the best. So, I have my trio of witchy reads just here, and we are gonna work our way through these in this vlog and see which witch comes out on top. Which witch wins, if you will. So, I have got first up, Waking the Witch by Rachel Burge. This is a Welsh witchy fantasy. It's YA. Kind of feeling like it's going to be dark, atmospheric witchiness. So that's the vibes for this one. The next one I have is Little Witch Academia. This is a manga, and I can imagine this is going to be really fun, really cute, and is a manga, so an entirely different vibe to this. And then the third one I have is probably the most out of my comfort zone, but I have got The X-Hex by Erin Sterling, which is a witchy romance. Way more of a contemporary than anything else, I think. But witchcraft. Never mix vodka and witchcraft. I don't know what to expect from this, because clearly there's something witchy about it, but it's also a contemporary romance, I think. So I don't know what to expect from this, but very different vibes from these two. So yeah, this is the order I'm going to go in, I think. Between this trio of witches, I think we have very different vibes. So we're going to see which witch wins. I'm going to start off with Waking the Witch. I'm really excited to read this one. Then I'm going to go on to Little Witch Academia. And then we'll try and tackle The X-Hex as well. I really don't know what I'm going to think of this. There's probably more chance of me liking these two than there is of this one. That being said, I don't read a lot of YA these days, so who knows? But yeah, this is the trio of witchy reads I shall be tackling in this vlog to see which witch wins. But yeah, let's crack on, get started with this one, and see how it goes. I'm sorry if you can hear Jake's music like muffled in the background. He's sat just behind where the camera is. He's got his headphones on, but it's still really loud. So I apologise if you can hear that kind of like in the background. That's what it is. Anyway, I finished a book. I finished Waking the Witch. I haven't updated you during... Hello, Finn. I haven't updated you during reading this at all, but I can update you now. So, I said that this was Welsh and witchy, and I thought it was going to have some sort of dark magic in it. Actually has worked very well for Spoopathon, because it has dark magic in it, and it's demonic. I need to go and look if it qualifies for anything else, like the extra ammo points or whatever for Spoopathon. As my first witchy read for this vlog, I would say it was very successful. I enjoyed it more than I thought I was going to, because it's YA, and I don't read a lot of YA anymore. And there were definitely some like typical YA elements that I personally could have done without, but they kind of set the scene for the rest of the story. So the second half of this book was definitely like more compelling than the first half for me, because the first half had a lot more of the like contemporary setting that I'm not really into, and then towards the latter half of the book it was a bit darker and the atmosphere came through a lot more, and then we got more of the like witchy vibes and the witchy characters and so on in the second half. But to give you a better summary of what this is about now, rather than just Welsh and witchy, this is about a young girl called Ivy who has been in foster care most of her life. Well, all of her life, actually. And she really struggles to open up to people and form like meaningful or lasting relationships. She really struggles with her emotions. And she blames like her life in the system for that. She has secretly been looking for her mother, and one day she receives a mysterious phone call from someone claiming to be her mother, saying that she needs to keep her safe, so she needs to stay away. And of course, when that happens in a YA book, our little main character there isn't gonna stay away, is she? And she works out that her mother has some dark secrets and is kind of involved in this like dark magic witchcraft scene, and there is some sort of force that is after Ivy, and she needs to like awaken the power to prevent this evil entity from doing what it needs to do. I don't want to say too much more than that, because I don't want to spoil anything, because the way it turned out wasn't the way I expected it to turn out. I will say there was one element of the way it turned out that I did kind of predict. There was a very vivid scene that we see at one point, and then as soon as I saw like one detail from that scene again at a later point, I was like, oh right, okay, so that means blah 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 is blah 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 and blah blah. And obviously that was probably supposed to be some sort of foreshadowing, but it just seemed a little bit easy. And of course there was some sort of romancy element to it as well, obviously, of course there was. But it was pretty well done, I think, because our main character is emotionally unavailable for most of the book. But I liked how it worked out. I liked a lot of this, and I did like the fact that it got a lot darker in atmosphere than I first thought it was going to be. So there's that. I don't know, I was kind of expecting more like some sort of witchy vibes on like remote island with like potions and crystal balls and stuff, and that's not quite the witchy that I got from this. It was much more like mythology witchy. And I said going into this, like, I was pretty sure there was going to be some like Welsh mythology based in there, and of course with it being set in Wales, it was Welsh and witchy. The basis of the fantastical element of this, though, I'll be honest, I don't know a lot about. But I don't want to say too much without spoiling it, because it doesn't like, the blurb doesn't explain what the basis for the fantastical element is, and I don't want to say that and risk spoiling anything for anybody else who wants to read it, but I liked how it unfolded, and I liked how it kind of changed some things. Also, as well as it being witchy and fantastical and about this girl's, like, journey to emotional availability, there was a real big focus in here on women and the strength of women and how women are treated and how women are victimized and how women are treated by men and all of the women that have been, like, silenced over the years, and, like, workplace assault and stuff like that. Like, there are lots of themes for that in here as well. Slight trigger warning for workplace sexual assault. I won't say too much on that. Slight trigger warning though, like, it is, I suppose it's more assault, but it's a form of sexual assault. Yeah, slight trigger warning for that. But yeah, I did end up really enjoying this, and I think it probably comes out at a 4-star for me, so I would call that a winner for this witchy read. I don't know how the others are going to compare, but I had a good time. So there's that. 1 witch down. And now we move on to the next witch, and the next witch that I'm tackling is Little Witch Academia. This is a manga, so I don't anticipate it taking me very long. Again, I probably will not update you whilst I'm reading it. I'll just tell you my thoughts and feelings when I've finished it. But this is book number 2. So I'm gonna get cracking. I think this is gonna be really cute. It's about a girl that wants to learn witchcraft. I think it's gonna be kind of adorable. So, very different vibes, but that was the plan. Let's dive into book 2. Well, that's witchy book number 2 complete as well. I just finished Little Witch Academia. Didn't take me long at all, as anticipated, like just over an hour and a half maybe. That wasn't what I expected it to be. Well, I mean, maybe it was kinda what I expected it to be. It's about this clumsy girl who wants to be a witch. But it really did not flow as a story. I am confused. As I was reading it, I found myself just pulling faces at it, being like, what is the point? What is going on? I don't understand. Like, it didn't seem to have a, like, flowing narrative at all. It's like, the first bit is her being like, yeah, I'm going to witch school, I'm so excited. The main character is absolutely insufferable. She is so overexcited about everything. Which I get if you're going to witch school, but also, like, just turn it down a notch. But yeah, the first chapter is all about, yeah, I'm going to witch school, I'm so excited. And all the other witches being, hey, you don't even know how to ride a broom. I got that. I thought it was going to be the beginning of a story. Then they're suddenly playing volleyball. And then they're suddenly going mushroom collecting. And then our main character's been accused of stealing a broom and has to return it. But, like, we didn't see any of that happen. It's just, like, little slices of life through the academic year or something, I suppose. It just doesn't make sense. Like, we don't see the friendships develop that she makes throughout it, and, like, none of the characters really make sense. I don't get it. I don't think I liked it very much. I just don't understand what the point was. I will not be continuing Little Witch Academia, which is disappointing. You know, manga's expensive to buy, but I reckon I'll probably end up unhauling this one. This was not for me. I just don't get it. I'm so confused. I do not understand. I don't actually have my next book on my person, so bear with me whilst I go and get that. Oh, I suppose I should give you I was going to say synopsis and rating, but I don't know what the synopsis is. Akko is a witch who goes to witch school, and then, like, we get random glimpses into what she gets up to at witch school, and I don't really understand the point. There's your synopsis. Rating? Honestly, Probably like a 2-star. It hurts to say that because I really was expecting to enjoy this and find it cute. But yeah, probably like a 2-star. So there's that. So that's 2 down already. Loving that. I'm going to go and grab my 3rd book. I will be back with you very shortly. I have returned with book number 3. Look at him, burying his head. Oh, friend. Pretty boy. He's so cute. Anyway, yeah. Book number 3. I didn't think I would get to this quite so soon. But flew through those. So, time for book number 3. It is The X-Hex. I really don't know what to expect from this. I don't know how witchy it is, or if it's just, like, vaguely modern witchy, I don't know. Although the cover has them on a broom. Who knows? It's a romance. It's going to be contemporary. I'm eager to see what the witchy element is, but if I'm going for something of an entirely different vibe to the other two, because the vibes were so different between these two, let's see what I think of this one. I'm going to get started right now. Hello, it seemed about time for an update because I am 112 pages into the X-Hex, so a little bit in. So I thought it would be a good place to give you a bit of an update. I knew it was a romance, I knew it was slightly witchy, hence why we're here. I did not expect it to be quite as heavily fantasy-based as it is. I was kind of anticipating a bit of modern witchcraft with a much more real-world setting, much heavier in the romance genre than in the fantasy genre, but it's definitely a lot more in the fantasy with like lots of witches and magic and curses and the ley lines and rituals and stuff. Like, it's a lot witchier and more magical and fantastical than I thought it was going to be. So that's surprising and pleasant, because I think that will mean that overall I'll enjoy it more than if it was set like in a more contemporary setting, because I don't like contemporary, we know that. So I think that's going to work in its favour for me. I don't know how I feel about the characters yet. I'm at a point now where I'm starting to care a little bit more about the plot, because the whole point is that she accidentally cursed her ex-boyfriend, and that curse has bad repercussions. So we're at a point where, like, the bad is happening and they need to work out how to fix the fact that she accidentally cursed her ex-boyfriend. So the plot has promise, but I don't know how I feel about the characters yet. And I mean, obviously, with it being a romance, there is this, like, will they, won't they, about our main character, Vivi, and her ex-boyfriend. I don't know if I, like, feel anything about that yet. But we'll see. I am only, like, 112 pages in. So there's time. But the plot is promising. So it has more hope than, I think, like, if it was contemporary like I was expecting it to be, would have done. So, pleasantly surprised so far. Basically. I'm going to carry on now. It's been a day. It's been a day. I was going to say it's been a while. It hasn't been a while at all. It's been a day. But I think I did get a little bit of B-roll of me going shopping yesterday. I went to Waterstones with all intention of going on a little bit of a witchy shopping spree to go with this vlog, and I was really disappointed that they didn't have a lot of the things I was looking for. So I ended up picking up this instead, completely unrelated to this vlog, not witchy at all, but still spooky season related, I feel, because vampires. Aztec Blood Drinkers, and it's Silvia Moreno Garcia. I have read one thing from Silvia Moreno Garcia before, which is Gods of Jade and Shadow. There it is. This one, absolutely loved it. I haven't read any of her other stuff because, like, blurb-wise, it hasn't really appealed to me. But I spotted this one, and blurb-wise, it appealed to me. Similar setting, Mexico, but yeah, vampires. So very different vibes, but it spoke to me, so I picked this up because I had to buy something. I was in a bookshop. What I actually came to tell you was that I finished the X-Hex, and this continued to surprise me. I have already given you some of my thoughts because I updated you halfway through, I think. But continued to surprise me, and I actually ended up enjoying this a whole lot more than I thought I was going to. I will repeat myself. I think it's because it was way more fantasy than contemporary, and I imported the footage from the beginning of this vlog and started editing it earlier today. And I basically picked this up and was like, but it's way more contemporary, so I don't know what I'm going to think about this. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. It was way more fantasy-based with magic and witchcraft and curses and ghosts and stuff. So I enjoyed it a whole lot more. Don't get me wrong. The romance is still the main point of this book, but I was definitely captivated by the atmosphere, the setting, things like that as well, which help so much, because when it comes to contemporary, the atmosphere does not get me, the setting does not get me. I just don't fall into it like that, whereas this had those elements that I really enjoy. It had, in places, that, like, spooky atmosphere, that darker atmosphere, but it also had the romance plotline as well as another plotline as well, to do with, you know, cursing her ex-boyfriend and working out what to do about that curse when everything goes tits up. I ended up enjoying it a whole lot more. Honestly, I would probably give this a 4-star. You know that other romance book that I read, the cooking one that's actually over here? And I was like, oh yeah, that kind of opened me up to trying more romance. If I hadn't enjoyed that, I probably wouldn't have picked this up, and I definitely think I enjoyed this more than I enjoyed that, because this has more of the elements that I personally enjoy with the magic, the witchcraft, the fantasy elements. So I think I'm giving this one a 4-star, you know. I am pleasantly surprised, to the point where I want to buy the sequel, which is The Kiss Curse, which I think is kind of a spin-off of the guy's brother. But I would be open to reading that, so I might buy that. We will see. Surprised me. So yeah, 4 stars for that. Who would have thunk it? Not me. But I'm really glad that I read it, and it was actually a really quick and immersive read as well. It was like a cheeseburger sort of book, you know, like, it was better than a cheeseburger book. This book is better than a cheeseburger. This book is like a chicken wrap. Try and unpack that. You know how, like, cheeseburger is tasty at the time but not really good for you? I feel like a chicken wrap is, like, a step up from that. Like, it's tasty, it's better for you, like, it's no roast dinner, but who doesn't like chicken wrap unless you're a vegan? Vegetarian, don't like chicken. I suppose lots of people. But that's my food analogy of this book. I liked it. So that does mean I have completed my trio of witchy reads, and we are now at a point to find out which witch has won. Now, make your predictions. I feel like it's probably obvious, but last place, it's Little Witch Academia. This is the bottom of the pile. I gave this one 2 stars. This was confusing. I think it wanted to be something that it then wasn't. It just didn't make sense. The story wasn't in order. I didn't get it. Not for me. So that is bottom of the pile. And then I actually ended up rating both of these 4 stars, which I didn't anticipate happening. But which one did I enjoy more? Now, similarities. They are both very witchy. They both have a romance plot. This one had a lot stronger atmosphere, and there was Welsh witchiness. This one was also Welsh witchiness. The similarities continue. This one had plot holes. Like, when it came to the fantasy element, the witchcrafty element, and the history of this town and whatnot, there were plot holes in this. There were definitely moments where I was like, that doesn't make sense with what you said 5 pages ago. Can't think of any off the top of my head, but I remember a few times the, like, logic of this world did pull me out of it. Then again, similarly, there were elements of that in here. And I feel like in places the world building could have been better, but the atmosphere was very strong, and I really liked the legend aspect of this. They were both quick reads. I had fun with them both. But I think the one that comes out on top is Waking the Witch. But only by a smidge. Only by a smidge, and that really surprises me, because I didn't anticipate liking the XX anywhere near as much as I did. But I do think the atmosphere in Waking the Witch, with it being slightly darker, the myth and the legend and the lore in this one being a lot stronger than it was in this one, this just had more of the ingredients to be enjoyed by me. But I'll say it again, this one really surprised me. So there we have our order for the trio of witches, and I'm really happy with my witchy reading, so there we go. I think I'm going to do this again. I've really enjoyed this, and I think doing a, like, trio of witches is quite a nice number to put in a vlog. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, let me know. If you want me to do this again, let me know. Even though I want to do this again, I want to make sure it's still something that you want to see. And I'm really in the mood for witchy reads, so it's like the perfect time to do it. But yeah, if you have read any of these books and want to share your thoughts and whether you agree with the things that I've said or disagree or whatever, feel free to do so down below. If you have enjoyed, give us a thumbs up, all that good stuff. And if you aren't subscribed and fancy subscribing, I would be eternally grateful for that. There will be more witchy content coming soon, I feel. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed hanging out with me. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I will see you in whatever comes next. Bye!